ROI for education, if you're calculating, I would suggest don't spend money in education. 12th के बाद 4 साल का जो पैसा है उसको property में invest कर दीजिए, property deal. The moment you enter into your 7th semester, you start getting calls from your parents. कौन सी कंपनी आ रही है, आपके उसका तो सिलेक्शन हो गया, why you still not selected?
Even if you look at the regular engineering industry, you don't need specialists, you need generalists. So I spend a lot of time on DeepSeek or ChatGPT for two purposes. I learn from it and I teach it.
Before even you get a degree, आपके पास नौकरी होनी चाहिए. So where is that space left for our kids to have that mindset that it is okay if you don't get a job, and if it is completely okay that you plan your career in a way that post your B.Tech, you're going for M.Tech, and post your M.Tech, you still want to spend a year or so into research, create something of your own and become a job creator. A pool of 700 companies on an average visiting every year to us, out of which 60% are always new business.
Alright, we are here at UPES and I got a chance to explore the campus, and now I am here with the entire CS department, the faculties of CS department as well as registrar. So we'll talk to them about what all things are important when it comes to students studying at UPES, when it comes to the advancements in technology, when it comes to upskilling, and how have things been changing. They have a lot of experience. They come from the time when computer science was just started as a branch in India. They have immense experience in this field, and we'll talk with them how things have changed in the past couple of years and how they see it now. Thank you so much, first of all, for joining in. And we'll start with a very common conversation. You all have been in teaching profession. It's considered to be a very noble profession, and most of you are in computer science, right? That's the hot topic. We see a lot of branches getting extinct, but everyone preferring computer science over any other branch. So being from that branch, I think it's a matter of responsibility as well as sense of achievement, because you are shaping the future that's coming out of India. So we'll start with a brief introduction of yours and how long you have been with UPES. Yes.
So I'm Vijay, head of the School of Computer Science, and I'm relatively new to UPES. I joined in June of 2024.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm Neelu Ahuja. I've been at UPES from past 20 years. So it has been 2 decades almost. And I'm a professor and associate dean of academics over here. I've been working with some funded government-sponsored projects.
Great.
And I like to shape young minds.
Wow.
Thank you.
20 years of experience, 2 decades, something that we are going to learn a lot from her today. Yes.
Thanks for having me here.
Hi, my name is Manish. I'm the registrar for the university. As ma'am is here for the last 20 years, this is my 20th year running as well. Joined in 2005 as a sports officer. So from a sports officer till the registrar, it has been a long journey, full of blessings and learnings. Currently, in my profile of registrar, I'm also heading the career services, training and internships.
Yeah, from individual teaching to getting into administrative services, it would have been a great journey indeed. Yes.
I'm Nilanjana. Right now, I am an associate professor, and as well as I head the Department of Chemical Engineering and Petroleum Engineering. I've been associated with UPS since last almost 7 years now.
Okay.
So yeah, long time.
Great. I think a lot of wisdom is going to be in this podcast when it comes to experience in different fields. People coming from core engineering and somebody who has been a registrar for such a great university. Ma'am coming with an experience of 20 years heading the CS department, and sir being the dean. So we'll start from a very controversial topic, I would say. So everyone has been talking about AI. Not a controversial topic, but yet very impactful and has been changing life, right? You have been in the space of education in computer science for the past 20 years, right? And things have been changing at a very different pace. People are talking about different technologies. Let's say you're talking about languages like COBOL or Python, then things changed. You were talking about blockchain, somebody was talking about machine learning, then people are talking about full stack development. Last 2-3 years, we have been seeing Web3, NFTs. Now the thing has been to Gen AI, ChatGPT, and things are changing at a very fast pace. Right? At times it becomes scary for students as well as everyone in the ecosystem, how things will shape in the coming 2-3 years, 4 years. But how do you see the student sentiment as of now when it comes to AI? How do you perceive AI? How do you think students are perceiving AI?
Yeah. So if you look at AI, the way things have been changing, you're very right in saying that they've been changing at a very, very fast pace. Student sentiment, yes, it stems from the point that things have become easier for them. There's a lot of anxiety, but however, they are taking up AI and they end up getting the code which is absolutely ready, cooked for them, and then they just take it ahead. But the way we look at it as a university is that we don't want AI to be something which is hampering us, or we are feeling the anxiety as to how we are going to take things further. We are ready and we are going to take it head on. We are going to take AI and AI tools, GPT-4, in fact, DeepSeek that has come recently now. We are going to take them as enhancers. We want them to be accelerators. We want to start from the point where these tools are going to give us the material, and then we want to build from there. We would not start from the scratch, rather. So we don't want to see it like a replacement. We want to see AI like a collaborator. Wherever we find situations where in lot of enthusiasm students end up getting a ready-made code and then they are too happy about it, we would rather take it as a situation where we would explain to the students something about the ethics that they should follow, the responsible use of AI. And from the curriculum perspective, we would like to bring in AI literacy into our curriculum. We would like to bring ethics. We would like to bring in those creative and problem-solving skills in our curriculum, which, can take AI as a collaborator and take us to the higher heights. So this is what
very right. I
Yeah.
think AI would be a great collaborator rather than a competition for anyone and everyone. Coming on to you, sir, you have been in this industry for long, right? So when it comes to you as a teacher, so has AI made your life easier as a teacher, or any specific tools you are using when it comes to AI?
Well, I mean, there are many things that AI has changed from a teaching perspective. To start with, if you look at it simply, students have access to, some kind of calculator, if you say. ChatGPT can be imagined that way. And we are not sure whether their, knowledge that is coming out or something that they depend on ChatGPT, right? So that's a big, it's a very big change. So therefore, the teachers themselves have to change in terms of how they evaluate students, right? But otherwise, I see that as a major support for us. For example, consolidating my notes and things like that, it becomes much easier. I can collect from various resources and things like that. And I personally am a very passionate mathematician. So, a lot of the more difficult problems can actually be given to students for them to try it. Even though they may use ChatGPT, there's a lot of learning out there.
Yeah.
So, yes, it's going to impact the industry heavily, in the sense that it is difficult to predict what kind of jobs will remain and what kind of jobs this thing. But basic problems solving skills, along with knowing how to use AI, is going to be always there.
True, very true. I think along with skills, if you're using AI the right way, that is something that can majorly impact. So from your experiences, like AI has been used for good as well as bad as well, right? So there would be multiple wrong practices that students would have been incorporating when it comes to doing their practical assignments or stuff. How do you see that changing? Because everything is available at a click of a second, and they can get any information, every information very fast. So how do you see student-teacher relationship and the kind of curriculum that we were following?
As Professor Vijay rightly said that, and Dr. Neelu also mentioned, that if we use it as a collaborative tool, it will help. But let me be very honest. Unfortunately, students are not using it as a collaborative tool. They are using it as a shortcut.
Yeah.
As of now, we see assignments which are coming straight out of ChatGPT. To an extent, students are not even editing the basic details.
Yeah.
And they're just copying and pasting it in the assignments. That's piece one where we are struggling as of now. I think, and I'll be the devil's advocate in the room, AI is, if used the right way, as all of us are discussing, can be a boon. But at the same time, what we are witnessing with the current students, and not only in the university, in the schools as well. My kids are young and they're school.
Yeah.
So we see a lot of challenges there as well. Teacher gives a small comprehension of 3 paras, and it comes straight out of ChatGPT. And one who has been into teaching profession for more than 2 decades, our colleagues out there, it is very easy for them to make it out, whether it is self-composed or whether it is coming out of a tool.
Yeah.
So I think AI, till the time we don't get used to it, that it is a collaborative tool and it cannot be used and should not be used as a shortcut, it is dangerous as of now.
True.
It is killing your creativity and it is also restricting your overall mindset. And I think if this goes on for next few years, I think as a country, we will be into deep trouble.
Yeah, maybe the thinking capability, the kind of hard work students are
Kids who
putting in.
currently into schools and the students who are with us, 10 years, 20 years down the line, they will run this nation. And nations cannot be run by that.
Sure. True. Very, very true. I think a great perspective again. Got to learn about, we got to hear about AI changing the ecosystem from the ones who have been experiencing it in the day-to-day life. Let's come on to UPS to be specific, right? You have been heading engineering, core engineering. And there has been a downward trend at some point of time is what we see. People are preferring computer science maybe more as computer science or related branches, be it IT or something, more over core branches. How do you see the current scene? Because we do need great mechanical engineers. We do need great chemical engineers as a country. It's not just one branch that can be preferred over other. How do you see this problem getting solved, or what are the challenges?
I think you rightly said it's a national trend that is happening, but we also need to collectively understand that computer science as a tool can only be implemented on a physical system.
Yeah.
You need data, and the data comes from a physical system, and those physical systems are engineering and technological systems that we have out there.
Sure.
Either it's electronics or it's mechanical or it's some chemical process that is happening. And the overall development of a nation, whether we are talking about the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, whether we are talking about renewable energy, whether we are talking about hydrogen energy, on any of those developments that the government of India or the global, the entire world is talking about, all of these would require hardcore engineering interventions.
Yeah.
Hardcore engineering interventions along with technological integration where AI is working in collaboration again with engineering.
True.
It cannot be just AI, it cannot be just engineering anymore. It has to be a collaborative thing where computer science and the knowledge of that along with engineering is working together to solve these problems. So right now, yes, to be very honest, we as a country are a little of a herd mentality kind of a people. We follow trends.
Yeah.
So the current trend says that computer science is at boom, but it's a trend. And as trends change, things change. And once we start realizing that we need more engineers, this would be a sinusoidal curve which has gone on for decades now. I think it would again come back, and over the period of time, I think it would all balance out where we have engineers who are equipped in both.
Yeah.
I think that is where we need to go towards. Rather than creating core engineers and core computer science, I think we need to start thinking about engineers who are having both the knowledge, so that they can go out and create real solutions to the real problems that we have out there.
Just to add on, I think the trend is already changing.
It is.
At UPS, if I have to give you a data point, we have seen 80% growth in core engineering programs
last year. Yes.
And this year again, we are expecting a similar kind of growth in terms of numbers. So in admissions and in engineering, they were going down like anything. But last year, to our surprise, we saw 80% growth.
Yeah.
Just to add, basically, like the Lanjana said, we need to create engineers that can solve all kinds of problems, right? So in this country, we haven't had the trend of actually creating a general engineering degree.
Yeah.
We had to build walls, let's say 20, 30 years ago, because we had that need. That need is no longer there. I mean, even if you look at the regular engineering industry, you don't need specialists, you need generalists.
Yeah.
So we have to create general engineering these days.
Imagine a core mathematician is heading the School of Computer Science.
And also with engineering degrees.
Yeah, very true.
Mathematics is the foundation for computer science.
Very true. I think a sweet balance, as she mentioned, between engineering, computer science is something that we look forward to as a nation when it comes to all the industries coming together. Right? Coming on to engineering, right? So what sets UPS apart from other colleges, or when you say you have a lot of options for students out there when they select a college for pursuing their degree, because education or pursuing the bachelor's is the fundamental that is set, and that defines how their career journey would look like. So what do you think makes UPS different from other colleges, or the kind of offerings that you have here at UPS?
Yeah, so UPS is not just another kind of higher education institution. The core value of UPS is innovation. So when we bring in students, we bring those fresh young minds and we give a curated content to them. We give them several opportunities around, we give them global partnerships, they get exposure from the industry, we have industry collaborations. So the kind of learning that happens at multiple levels is what shapes them as individuals, as nation builders, and we actually build students who really can run tomorrow to that level. So from UPS, if you see certain things which put them apart, are that they have an holistic learning. So we don't just focus on, the mathematical problems, say for engineering, or we don't focus on the computer science oriented curriculum alone, foundational courses alone. We bring the concept of exploratory courses also to them, which is where they are able to integrate their main degree with certain other courses which are from the other domains, so that they can build hybrids out of that. So that is one thing. Then we give them an option of knowing more about the life skills, right? Soft skills. And there are many other things which we integrate. So it's a complete curriculum which has internships also. They have opportunities, global partnerships, industry ready kind of a curriculum. Putting all these things together as an individual, that holistic learning which we are giving to them is what is different from any other institution as compared to UPS.
Just to add on,
Manish can add further on
the
that.
kind of industry exposure which we give to our students. I mean, right since the inception of our university, we are known for our university which is industry-led. Almost 80% of our programs have an industry parent in place. When I say industry parent, we have strong tie-ups with the industry. I have to give an example of computer science. Right from day one of School of Computer Science, we are in association with IB. And we run a CCC program with them. CCC is co-design, co-teach and
co-create and co-deliver.
Right? So they teach around 40% of the credits in the classroom. We co-certify that. Now imagine an individual coming out from a university and he's already trained for the projects. We do an activity with the industry which is known as LBJ, learning before joining. So typically in computer science and in some cases in engineering as well, when the student is in 7th semester, he gets a placement. So during his 8th semester when he's with us on campus, imagine we are training him for the projects which he is to be reputed right on day one. So that cuts down on the total time and cost of the company. We have a number of partnerships with the industry. IBM is one, ZBI is another for School of Computer Science. We recently signed up with NVIDIA, Cisco, AWS. For School of Engineering, we have a number of partners. So I think one is our industry exposure. The second thing what ma'am was mentioning, I'll go a little more deep into that. So we have this concept of school for life.
Okay.
This is a virtual school which cuts across all our 7 schools, which is not only preparing the students for a job, but they are preparing the students for their life and for the entire career. So we have introduced programs in School of Life like Learning How to Learn, which makes learning a little more exciting and easy. How to solve problems, creative thinking, how to work with different kind of teams. These are things which I don't know many universities are doing it or not, but we are doing it very, very passionately. There is one thing which all of us proudly say, and we proudly live with that everything on campus is very, very personal for all of us. Every soul which enters the university is our responsibility. Because as I said, they run this nation 20 years down.
Yeah.
So, to give a slightly different perspective, for example, if I want to send my children to a college, first thing I look for is the physical space, right?
True.
You have been to the campus, and then it's one of the most peaceful campuses that you can ever find.
Yeah.
The second aspect of it is we always look for reputation. And if you look at the trend of UPES, the ranks, are tremendously improving everywhere. And I think it's one of the few colleges that is in top 100 at the global level. So reputation does matter in the long run. If school is reputed, then it's always good for you. So, and of course, who is teaching? I mean, all these ranks come because of the fact that we are recruiting, right? We are, recruiting for the best places in the country and world. So, all these factors, all the factors that my colleagues mentioned, and these factors will make it a great place.
I think school of life is something that's a very interesting concept, right? And that's universal across all the 7 schools. Like those are the life skills that students should have apart from the technical skills, because I come from corporate and I know how important these life skills are when you are sitting for client meetings or when you're sitting or explaining a project to your team, right? So these life skills along with the technical skills are very, very important if you plan to grow your career. So somehow it's again very, very important. We were discussing
That is what we call it as holistic learning.
Holistic learning. So we talked about AI, we talked about how UPS is different, but generally there's a major thing ki our education curriculum in India is very outdated, right? So we are still studying the curriculum that was 20 years back and still the same in most of the institutions of national importance here in India. So it's again a very important part because the demands of industry have been changing with the technologies and everything. How have you been able to cope up with curriculum updation, including those practical skills along with theoretical skills when it comes to updation?
The reason why I think the educational institution kind of lags behind the industry is because our gestation period or our product life cycle is actually of 4 years. So by the time, if I'm designing a curriculum for today, I will have to actually keep in mind that in 4 years' time, how the industry will look like and prepare my student according to that.
True.
If I'm able to do it, then I'm preparing somebody who is industry ready. If not, then that person is like 4 years back. So this is a challenge, and I think this is a challenge which every higher education institution faces. Every annual basis, we talk to our industry partners and ask them what is happening. We have our own connections in the industry. The faculty members, they have their own connections and the collaborations, which kind of helps us to understand what is the need, how the industry trend is changing, what may be the possible trends or the skill sets, rather trends I would say here, skills are more important, and how they are going to change, what kind of skills would be required in another 5 years' time, and we start incorporating them in our curriculum. One major change I would say from School of Engineering, the thing that I was saying is more of an integration of computer science with engineering is required. So all of our core engineering students are studying data analytics as their core subject. You would find mostly all the universities out there, they have data analytics courses as electives. Now the moment it becomes selective, some of them study, some don't. For us, because it's a core curriculum subject, everybody studies it. That gives them an additional edge. We did it because it's required. Our chemical engineering students, petroleum engineering students, mechanical engineering students, they are studying CCUS, carbon capture, utilization and storage. They are studying renewable energy because these adds on to the skill sets and that gives them an additional edge. So I think looking forward is the only way we can ensure that our students are better ready for tomorrow. That's the only way we can.
Yeah, and just to add on over there, computer science, as you know, it's so very dynamic. These days we are having LLMs coming in, Gen AI coming in. So we have to be constantly keeping ourselves in that pace. We keep adding new technologies, emerging technologies into our curriculum. Apart from that, we have also started including these certifications into our curriculum. If you look at NVIDIA certifications, AWS Cloud Practitioner certifications, these are the things which we are wanting to bring them as part of the curriculum so that the student can take that as a certification and those credits can in long run get added. Apart from that, we try and give students opportunities to learn things which are not directly linked with their curriculum. However, as value-added courses, they can be learned. They can be done. So these are the things which we keep constantly updating our curriculum and ensure that our student, as Dr. Nilanjana already said, that we have to keep it in a very proactive and a forward-looking kind of an approach.
I think,
So, we are very excited about a new program that we are introducing. It is a B.Tech program in mathematics and computing. It is along the lines that we were talking about general engineering, right? Generalists. I mean, we have many specializations, including computer science has many specializations, but this maths and computing is more on a problem-solving setup. That is not meant for any specific specialization, but they will have a strong foundation of maths and also sufficient knowledge in computers. I mean, mathematics in the past used to be a very strong tool, but today without computing it is useless. So we combine these two. And in fact, the initial batch will be focusing on financial engineering, which is quite deep in terms of mathematics as well as computing. So we are very excited about it.
I think mathematics and computing is something that bridges, like, for computer science engineer, for most of the big tech companies also, when they plan to hire college freshers or students, problem solving is something that's a major focus when you call that we call data structural algorithms, right? And if you have a strong foundation of mathematics, I think you already have an edge for all these companies going out. And as ma'am rightly mentioned, so I think these subjects like data analysis or mechatronics or IoT can act as a bridge for core students and computer science students, and they can maybe have more career opportunities open for them when they are coming from core. And if they have a bit of interest towards data analysis or business analysis or mechatronics, IoT or robotics, so a sweet spot between computer science and core branches is all these domains. Perfect. I think and like you all mentioned about different technologies that you have been using, right? But this trend has been ongoing and it's changing at a very rapid pace. So students are upskilling. At the same time, teachers also need to upskill themselves or keep themselves updated on what is happening in the market, how things are. So how do you all, I'm just curious to know, how do you all keep yourself updated on what's happening in the market, in whether it's AI or technology or in general government regulations and rules?
So a teacher never is always a student.
It's an ongoing learning.
So we use a cute term called T-Cube. So train the trainer. So and then that we follow that quite rigorously, right? And we don't have ego to learn from youngsters who are learning this new technology. So we bring them in, and then our faculty get up to date.
Yeah.
We run a program which is known Abhigyat.
Okay.
Abhigyat is an internship program for the faculty colleagues. We also have a very strong advisory board for each and every school. So each and every school, there is a advisory board which comes out of industry. They are industry working professionals. And as sir rightly said, we don't have that ego to learn from the youngsters. In each and every school's advisory board, we also have our alumni. Because what they are learning in the industry in 2 years, we won't be able to teach them, the students, till that time they are not aware of. So we are very pro, as I earlier said, we are an industry-led university since our inception. And that's really helping us in our student outcomes.
Great. I think this is something that's the need of the hour. Teachers also need to update themselves, keep themselves updated, or keep upskilling along with the ongoing technology, because things are changing at a very, very rapid pace.
And I also believe that now, at one time when we were kids or we were in school, technology used to be there either outside the classroom, or it used to be a part of classroom only when the teacher wanted it.
Yeah.
Now the Insta and the Facebook of the world is there with me inside the classroom. The ChatGPT is there sitting just next to me. I can't ignore it anymore. So if I have to use it and collaborate with it, like ma'am said, I need to know it before the students do. So if I'm giving an assignment and I know it's going to come out of ChatGPT, I know what is coming out of ChatGPT before I give it out. So these things, I mean, I won't say that it has been easy. It's definitely not easy for us, but all of us are, I think, a continuous student. We keep on learning, we keep on updating ourselves, we keep on working with the technology around us and upgrade ourselves.
That's the best part to be in education.
Yeah.
When you keep on learning, you're always on your
Lifelong learners.
Lifelong.
Because with every new batch, there are new set of ideas and new set of information.
Yeah.
Now, a boy or a girl who is coming out of class 12th and entering a university has completely different set of information which we don't even know.
Very true.
And on the day one, we are amazed. So we have to be updated.
Very true.
So I spend a lot of time on DeepSeek or ChatGPT for two purposes. I learn from it and I teach it.
You feed in a lot of data.
Absolutely. So I'm a teacher as well as a student
I'm
there.
a little afraid that you mentioned that ChatGPT and DeepSeek are helping you in creating more difficult question papers. So if these students who are listening to him, just be.
Very true. I think we discussed a lot about industry, how it has been changing, how it has been shaping. But for India to grow as a country, right, there has been a debate around India creating their own foundational models. Right, we saw very recently DeepSeek. We have been seeing OpenAI, but I think Ministry of Information and Electronics also recently mentioned about a foundational model coming out of India in the coming 8 to 10 months. They have called for proposal is already on. So the thing that we still lag is strong research or deep research that students we don't nurture students in a way that they should be more oriented towards research, rather than the focus is more on only the ROI. That's how I can get a job quickly, right? So research, however, somehow plays a very, very important role when it comes for the long-term growth or long-term vision as a country, India. So what, as per you, like when it comes to research, there would be, let's say, a very small fraction of students who would be interested in something like this. How do you nurture those students with respect to research, or what kind of opportunities do students get here when it comes to research in general and with respect to computer science as well?
Yeah, you are right in saying that when we talk of research, mostly the students who are coming in for a program in engineering or in computer science, the mindset is that we want a job, we want to get placed, we want a very good salary. But there are a certain set of students who are very keen that we would like to get into the research. And these are young people who are very, very bright. They have bright ideas. They are very, very passionate. So at this point of time, university plays a very, very important role. I would like to tell you that at UPES, the kind of research ecosystem that we have built for the students as well as for the faculty, it is really something which, is very outcome oriented. When we talk of research, we give them a very structured way of getting into research. From the first 2 years, they are mostly understanding the foundational courses. After that, the spark which comes in them, that whatever curious question that they have, it is the teacher's responsibility to kind of tilt that towards a point where they can get attracted and get aligned with research. And once they are in that, we give them some courses. There are courses on research ethics. Yeah. There is a course on statistics. There is a course on research methodology. And in a very systematic manner, over the time while they are getting towards the later semesters of their program, they are inducted towards research. And then at that point of time, they can take a decision whether they would like to go for higher education, and which is what most of them do, and then they can take up the research opportunities. Some of them can take up PhD programs. If you talk of PhD programs in India, at times the things are, not at that level where some good research which we want to come out, that can come. However, at UPES, the kind of PhD opportunities that we give to the students, we put it as 3 Ps.
Okay.
First P for problem statement, second P for partnership, and third P for publications. So if we talk of problem statement, the first P, here we are saying that the student should have a problem related to the society, a problem that can really solve a society problem, a real world impact that can make. So that kind of a question, which, propels them to keep thinking, to look around, to find out solutions. Second P becomes partnership. A student can't work alone. He would need guidance from his mentors, from his seniors, from people around, from the faculty members, from global partnerships which we have, from the industry linkages that we have. So putting everything together, it's the partnership which is, kind of going to help them to, try and systematically solve the problem. Yeah. Third P is also very, very important, because whatever outcomes they are coming out with, could be negative outcomes also at times, but they need to be publicized. They need to be brought out and shown to everybody. At that point of time, we don't really chase that publication happening. However, we want those findings to come out. Yeah. So we give them opportunities to make presentations as part of their own class, as part of the group where they are doing in the doctoral committees. And we have several hackathons where they can go ahead and take those ideas further. It becomes more like an accelerator for them. And at that point of time, the kind of learning that happens all around becomes immense.
True.
So that is the kind of outcomes that we are looking forward when it comes to research.
Yeah. So if I may add, research is where self-learning happens, and there's nothing better than self-learning.
Very true.
Right? So therefore, like Professor Neelu mentioned, after their 4th semester or so, we tag them to one of the centers of excellence. We have several centers of excellence, Center for AI, Center for IoT, Center for immersive technology, which is AR, VR, and things like that. And then we have Center for Quantum Computing and so on. So we tag these students to each of these centers, and then we have obviously faculty tagged to those centers,
Center of
and they'll have
excellences.
a guided tour, so to speak, and then students are self-learning there. And then they'll have some new story and new invention, new discovery at the end of their 4-year degree.
But what we do when there is another couple of P's added to these 3 P. One is parents, the second is pressure and perception.
Yeah.
So whenever a kid enters the university with the parents, the first thing the parent would ask, what is the placement? Highest package kitna gaya? What are the companies which come to the campus?
Yeah, very true.
Yeah.
And what is the ROI? I am spending 20 lakh rupees. What is the ROI? So what about parents and that pressure of parents and perception of the overall community, that after doing B.Tech, you are again doing some research, going for M.Tech, तुम्हें नौकरी नहीं मिली क्या? So kids are under immense pressure.
Yeah, very true.
And at times families are also under immense pressure.
You need to get a job after your B.Tech.
Yeah,
That's
so,
the
I mean,
direction.
The moment you enter into your 7th semester, you start getting calls from your parents. कौन सी कंपनी आ रही है?
Yeah.
आपके उसका तो सिलेक्शन हो गया. Why are you still not selected? इतने CTC में क्यों जाओगे? So there is a lot of pressure also. I mean, India as a country, we are not still into that mindset. For us, I mean, doing a BSc or a B.Tech is equivalent to a job.
True.
You complete your degree. In fact, in some cases, most of the cases, there is a perception and there is a pressure that before even you get a degree, आपके पास नौकरी होनी चाहिए. So where is that space left for our kids to have that mindset that it is okay if you don't get a job, and if it is completely okay that you plan your career in a way that post your B.Tech, you're going for M.Tech, and post your M.Tech, you still want to spend a year or so into research, create something of your own and become a job creator.
True.
Rather than a job seeker. Because that's the challenge. And here is where our runway comes into play. We spend a lot of time and effort and also money, by the way, in our runway incubator. Where, I mean, if till date there are around 300 companies which are incubated in runway. Most of them will not succeed. We know that the success rate of entrepreneurship and incubation is very low. But still we are giving that opportunity to these students. And this runway, by the way, is open for all, not only for UPS students. If you have a good idea in mind, UPS is open to support you. We not only tell you and train you how to go to the market, what are the various strategies and what, we also give you seed money upfront, up to 5 lakh rupees, to start something of your own.
I think I got a chance to talk to a few of the startups here in the runway, and they're building in different space. One of the startup was in health tech, one was in fintech, and they're very passionate. One I saw was a second-year computer science student, and he has a startup incubator, and he was working from that space.
We have startups starting from making good samosas till carbon capsules.
Wow.
So we have all kind of startups.
Yeah, we have one stargazing related startup, lawyer supportive app, all kinds.
Yeah.
We don't kind of discard any idea which comes to us. We give the due benefit to the idea, then we invest our time and effort into that, then we give the seed money, and we ensure that it reaches to a certain stage where they can also get some support from the angel investors. But again, especially for those of you who are listening, अपने पेरेंट्स से बात करिए, समझ लीजिए उन्हें चाहिए क्या है,
सही बात है,
और उनकी उम्मीदों पे खरे उतरे. There's a lot of pressure. And one has to understand at this point in time, when you're entering into a university, that for your entire life, you will be a part of the university.
Yeah.
4 साल के बाद आप चले जाएंगे यूनिवर्सिटी से ग्रेजुएट होके, doesn't mean that you're out of the university. University will still be with you.
100%.
We as a university proudly say, and we have said this on the public domain, that we provide you lifetime placement assistance.
Wow.
You graduate from the university in 2025, you get into a job, 2 years down the line, आपको लगता है नौकरी मेरे लिए नहीं है, ये सेक्टर मेरे लिए नहीं है, I want to completely shift to a completely different sector. Go and test your luck. We are as a safety net for you. 5 years down the line, you come back to us and ask for placement again, we will be providing you that complete support as we are doing it for the current students. There will be one university which is doing this.
Lifetime placement is something that I'm hearing for the first time.
And this is on public domain, along with some success stories.
Yeah. So I'll connect to what Manish Madan sir said here. that all of these startups that we are talking about, which has come out from UPS, they have not suddenly come out one day. It's because the kind of environment that we create both inside the classroom and outside, the curriculum that we have projects. And these are the projects which actually starts as a seed for any of these things. You know, when they work on any projects, whether it's linked to the Center of Excellences or projects which a faculty has given to a student to work on, he reads, it excites him, he reads more. He does something out of it. He comes up with an idea. It goes to Runway Incubator. They find it interesting. They invest. So all of these happens because the ecosystem of the university is built in such a way that we make it easy. Now, it's up to the student to choose.
Yeah, very true.
Whether they want to go for entrepreneurial pathway, or they want to just get a job and get out of it and think about the ROI, or they want to take it further in form of a research and do more on that. So it's left out to the students to decide at the end of the day. But it's the environment which is given to the student by the university which makes it possible for them.
Very true, very true. I think as sir was mentioning, right, the major ROI that is measured for any college or any student who is pursuing any degree in India is placement. कि आप college के बाद नौकरी कहाँ पे लग रही है, आपकी कितने CTC पे नौकरी लग रही है, कौन सी कंपनी में आप जा रहे हो, right? It's even if it's your parents or your relatives or your neighbors, everyone in the society or even your college mates, batchmates, आपको respect तभी मिलती है जब आपकी अच्छी placement हुई हो, right? That's the norm, right?
So थी ना 3 Idiot, इतनी बड़ी गाड़ी होगी, कितना बड़ा घर होगा, उससे लोग आपको जज करेंगे.
ट्रू, वेरी ट्रू.
It's true.
तो मतलब प्लेसमेंट पे ही आते हैं, मतलब जो लोग देख रहे होंगे शायद वो एस्पायरिंग स्टूडेंट्स होंगे, देख रहे होंगे कि यार ये ऑप्शन है, कॉलेज अच्छा है, सब कुछ अच्छा है, वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट स्टार्टअप की अपॉर्चुनिटी है, पहाड़ों में कॉलेज है, राइट? बट प्लेसमेंट्स कैसी हैं? लाइक इफ यू वांट टू टॉक मोर अबाउट कि व्हाट काइंड ऑफ कंपनीज डू हायर फ्रॉम UPS और व्हाट हैव बीन द प्लेसमेंट स्टैट्स फॉर पास्ट कपल ऑफ इयर्स, डू students get placed easily, or what kind of trainings you provide to students? How has been that aspect of UPS?
No, nothing in life comes easy to you.
Very true.
You have to work really hard for that. And if someone thinks that anything which is provided has come easy, it's a false statement. Students also have to work really hard for their placements, and we also have to support them in that journey. I always say whenever I interact with students face to face or virtually, that placement is not a rocket science.
Yeah.
It's a process. You enter in first year, concentrate on the domain and fundamentals, basics and fundamentals, or concentrate on that. Second year, when we offer you your domain specific subjects, go deep into that. Third year, try to implement it. Get a good internship through the university. Whenever there is an internship provided or whenever there is a training provided to you, go deep into that. Do it seriously. The moment you enter in your 7th semester, it's a roller coaster. At UPES, we start the placement season from mid of July, and we keep on supporting the students till June end, till the time the convocation is. And post that as early as a lifetime placement assistance ka support the way. So during from July to June, which is almost 11 months, there is hardly a day when there is not a company on campus, including Diwali and winter breaks. So specifically a computer science student would have a go at around 200 companies in 11 months. Engineering student would have a go around 120 companies. These companies will range from 50 lakh rupees to 5 lakh rupees. These companies will range from the big consultancies, big fours, to a startup. Now for you, what's your dream company?
Yeah.
So students came about
which domain or which dream company you want to
So
be?
there are 3-4 options. For me, the dream company would be a good brand. For someone else, a dream company would be a CTC.
Yeah.
For someone else, a dream company would be a hometown location.
Yeah.
Maybe for someone, a dream company is not these 3, a profile. Maybe someone, a dream company would be where his friends are going.
Yeah.
So first you have to decide what is your
Dream company.
तभी मैंने बोला अपने parents से बात कर लेना.
True.
This is one. Second, you have to be very clear, do you need a placement? Do you want to go for your startup? Do you want to go for your higher studies? At times, and I'm making it very clear, at times students are confused.
Yeah.
They'll sit for placement, but they have some other plans.
Yeah.
You'll not only spoil the offer for you, you'll spoil the offers for others as well.
Yeah.
Now, how do we prepare them for placements? This is important. In first year, we send them for a social internship, which is again unique to UPS. So we have around 1,300 NGOs whom we have signed an MOU with, and these are NGOs working on the 17 SDGs. So each and every student at undergrad level who will be part of the university will have to mandatorily go for a summer social internship during the first summer break with an NGO. 90% of the internships are face-to-face. In certain cases, the internships are virtual as well. Now, what do we send them for internships? The reason is they should understand what the real life is.
Yeah.
आपके और मेरे लिए पीने के पानी का एक ग्लास हम सोचते भी नहीं तो someone else out there it's a luxury. So we explain them that this is the real world. Now when they see what is out there in the real world, उनके थोड़ा सा जिंदगी की तरफ नजरिया थोड़ा सा बदल जाता है.
True.
Second year we send them for an internship with the local government, the tehsildars, the block development officers, the Setu Ayog, which is Niti Ayog of the state, the DMs, the SDMs, to understand how the bureaucracy, how the entire administration of the machinery works, so that they understand that. Third year, it is a mandatory internship for all of them, the industry. And as soon as they enter the faculty, the companies on campus. In between all of this, we start preparing them for soft skills, as ma'am was mentioning. We do a lot of emphasis on GD, personal interviews, their grooming, email etiquettes, the vocabulary. Then in second year, we start concentrating on their aptitude, quant verbal reasoning. So as I was mentioning that it is a process.
Yeah.
First year it's a social internship. Second year it is an internship with the government sector. Third year it's a internship with the industry. Then we put a lot of emphasis on aptitude, which is quant verbal reasoning.
Yeah.
For School of Engineering, from last 3 years what we have started, we are also preparing the students for coding. Because now the first cut for School of Engineering for almost all the profiles is coding.
Yeah.
Earlier it was domain, now it is coding.
Coding.
During all these years, whether it is soft skill, whether it is aptitude, whether it is coding, along with aptitude, we also put a lot of emphasis on one of the most important things which is missing these days is attitude of students. शुरू में इंडस्ट्री में जाके रगड़ा लगेगा.
सही बात.
क्लास में जब 8 घंटे की पढ़ाई करनी है, बैक टू बैक क्लासेस हैं, तो दैट इज बाय डिजाइन, नॉट बाय डिफॉल्ट. हफ्ते में 2 दिन ऐसे मिलेंगे, 2 दिन आपके पास लंच ब्रेक नहीं होगा.
Yeah.
If you are not doing that, if we are not making your timetable in a way where there are 6 classes back to back, then we are not doing the right thing. Because you are here to learn, you are here to study. मसूरी घूमने के लिए यूनिवर्सिटी आने की जरूरत नहीं है.
Adapt.
True that.
I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah.
So we do that by design. If we follow these steps, and most of the students do, then placement is a process. Now you talked about companies. And I can proudly and confidently say that you pick up any name, and you will see it in the list of companies which are visiting UPES. Imagine there are around 750 companies which visited us last year.
Wow.
And a similar number will visit us this year as well. Now imagine a university which is placing the students from last 18 years. पहले के 2 साल तो batch graduate होने में लगे ना. 20 साल हो गए in fact. A pool of 700 companies on an average visiting every year to us, out of which 60% are always new business development, new companies which are visiting us, 40% are all recruiters. What is the total pool size of companies which are visiting UPES? That's just one. 30,000 alumni in the market.
Every
Who are our brand ambassadors. And what is the batch size which we have to place every year? For next 2 years it is 3,500, after that it is 6,000.
Yeah.
This is 10%. Next 2 years it is 20%. 30,000 alumni. On top of that, our industry friends. On top of that, our advisors. On top of that, their connections, the connections of our faculty colleagues. So if you follow the process, at UPS, placement is not a challenge. To give you some data, School of Computer Science, 100% placement since inception.
Wow.
School of Engineering, 90% and above placements since inceptions. The highest salaries for UPS has always been between these two schools. They have been into competition. या तो कंप्यूटर साइंस की आती है हाईएस्ट सैलरी which is 50 lakh rupees, या स्कूल ऑफ इंजीनियरिंग की आती है which is again 50 lakh. So these two schools are the safest bet.
Great. I think you stressed upon a point कि college discipline सिखाता है, right? That's very very important when you go to the industry, right? बाकी चीजें आप सीख लोगे, technical skills company सिखा देगी, आप खुद से सीख लोगे, but जो discipline वाली चीज़ है ना, जो deadlines आपको meet करनी होती हैं within college, and जब आप इंडस्ट्री में जाते हो you face the same thing कि यार deadlines हैं यहाँ पे भी and you need to be very strict. वहाँ पे there's a lot of, अगर आप थोड़ा सा भी लेट होते हो तो huge loss for a company. किसी भी एक छोटे
so
point
important for life. If you're not disciplined, you won't be able to succeed no matter what is your competence.
Very true.
And we always say that the date mentioned on your degree is actually the expiry date of your knowledge. हमने जो कैंपस पे सिखा दिया इंडस्ट्री में जाके आपको दोबारा सीखना
पड़ेगा. Very true.
One point I would add to what Manish Madan sir said regarding placement, because we're talking about placement here. This is something which I have realized when I've been interacting with the students, incoming students and parents, is that many a times when they are joining us for the first time, the first year students, they come here thinking that they would get a job in the Microsoft of the world. And I would request those who are listening to us not to do that. Focus on upgrading themselves, skilling themselves, rather than focusing that Microsoft is where I want to land. I mean, having an aspiration is a good thing, but focusing on just one company and working towards it, because obviously there is no guarantee. I mean, you may work towards it, but you may not get it.
Yeah.
That leads to a lot of disappointment at the end of the day. But if you work on your skills, if you work making yourself better than what you are today. I think Microsofts of the world are going to be there for you.
Definitely.
So who doesn't need a good employee?
Who doesn't need a good employee? Exactly.
Companies are looking out for folks. They are coming to hire, not you are going. They also want good.
So I guess focus on making yourself a better version of what you are today, rather than focusing on just one company to be a part of. I think that is something which needs to be kept in mind.
I think we had a thorough discussion on placements. One important aspect that we touched a bit before was higher education, right? So what kind of opportunities when it comes to higher education students get here at UPS?
So we have something called Global Pathways Program, which is essentially a collaboration between many universities across the world with UPES. So for example, we have connections with University of California, Berkeley, University of Edinburgh, University of Auckland in New Zealand, several in Australia, so all across the world, and these are very top-ranked universities. And students will get an opportunity to choose between many options. So we have something called 2+2 program, which means 2 years here and then 2 years somewhere else. It could be a semester exchange program. It could be something like 3.5 plus 1.5. That means they spend the last semester in foreign university and one more year, and they'll get masters from there, and then a bachelor's from here and things like that. So many opportunities are there. So,
yeah, I think I've met a few students who have already done a semester abroad and who are here, and the kind of perspective they get is very, very different.
Oh, yes.
And we also support them with scholarships. We also support them with scholarships, good discounts. If a student who has done his undergraduation with UPS and wants to come back for a PG, we give a flat 50% discount to our alumni in all our programs, including PhD. We support them a lot.
Great. I think we covered a lot of things, and it has been very elaborate when it comes to placement or somebody looking out for a startup or somebody looking forward to pursue higher education or core engineering, right? But at the same time, there is a notion that the kind of money that you pay to UPS or the kind of fee structure at UPS is quite high, right? And as compared to colleges in the similar domain or North India or whatever, how do you justify that cost when it comes to all these aspects? So what do you think is the major push when it comes to cost?
Good faculty, good infrastructure cannot come cheap.
Learning.
It's as simple as that.
So what Sir was mentioning, I mean, to prepare a world-class talent, you need world-class trainers. And world-class trainers won't come cheap, right? You see our infrastructure. You see the kind of classrooms we have, interactive classrooms. You see the campus. You see the facilities in the labs. You see our the Center of Excellence. You see the sports facilities on campus. And above all, you see our industry exposure. The kind of design your own degree program what we have started. So if you are a computer science student and learning programs and learning the degree of getting a degree of cloud computing, at the same time you can take a minor in cybersecurity. You are a student of cybersecurity at School of Computer Science, you can take a minor in cyber laws. So we are just not a standalone computer science college or a college of engineering. We are a complete university which is operating into 7 different domains. And as I earlier said, nothing is easy in life.
Yeah, very true. But yeah, well, I think a lot of points that we discussed somehow justifies.
Also at the same time, the kind of placement records what we have. The kind of growth our alumni have in the industry. Most of our alumni, as I said, there are 30,000 of them. most of them are at very, very influential positions in the industry.
Top companies.
So I would suggest this, and I always advise this to the students. The ROI for education, if you're calculating, I would suggest don't spend money in education. 12th के बाद 4 साल का जो पैसा है उसको प्रॉपर्टी में इन्वेस्ट कर दीजिए और प्रॉपर्टी डीलर 12th तक भी पढ़ाई मत कीजिए, कम पढ़ाई कीजिए और वो वाला पैसा भी कहीं रियल एस्टेट में इन्वेस्ट कर दीजिए, बिकॉज एजुकेशन इज नॉट इन्वेस्टमेंट ऑफ ROI. Education is investment for life. And there may be times when you will start small. All of us have started at a very humble level.
Yeah.
But since we had that competency and that qualification and above all that attitude of learning, sir ne bola, we are still learners. If you have that in yourself, आगे चल के some years down the line, ROI won't even matter. मैं दोबारा बोल रहा हूँ, if someone is coming to UPS or to any other college and calculating a ROI, don't invest in education.
Great. I think we covered a lot of points, and I totally agree to what your statement is. The ROI should be made for life. It's not just the education. It's very, very true and very powerful line again. I think we are towards the end of the discussion, and let's have a concluding remark from each one of you for somebody, a student or a parent who is watching this conversation and who is looking forward to maybe a college for study or an opportunity to understand more about different aspects of life. So what maybe if you can sum up in a line or two, what advice would you have for students and parents looking out for? Maybe you can start.
Okay, so my advice to all the students and prospective students and their parents, and this is advice that I give to all the incoming students, is listen to what you really want to do rather than what the rest of the world is saying that you should be doing.
Yeah.
Choose, because whatever you choose today, you will have to live with it for the rest of your life. So let's not regret later on and tell to ourselves that we could have done something else. Think, find all the information out there that is there in the internet, talk to people, get the right information and make the right choice.
Absolutely.
ऐसे सवालों पे मैं थोड़ा सा इमोशनल हो जाता हूँ. So the advice to the students first. If there is someone in your life who keeps on telling you कि तुमसे नहीं होगा, this part of your friend list, delete that name from your mobile. This part of your family, हाथ जोड़ के बोल दीजिए, please ऐसी बात मत कीजिए, because these are the ones who will not let you do anything. One second, dream big. बड़े सपने नहीं देखेंगे तो छोटे कभी पूरे नहीं होंगे. Now advice to parents. There are dreams which you must have seen for yourself. Don't impose those dreams on your kids. Let them see their own dreams. वो अपने सपने पूरे कर लेंगे तो आपके बहुत अच्छे से. And this is the case.
Yeah. Every child is different, as the philosophy goes.
Yeah. So I would like to say that for us, every student is like a moldable material who, when comes in our charge, we are going to give them complete liberty. We are going to take full care of them and are going to place them in a way wherein place here, I don't mean placement really. I mean that they are going to really be happy and be content with what they are doing in their life. So they would be people who would be able to look out and find out what best opportunities are there for them and then grow along with them. Just to give you a little example, I'm just reminded of a couple of projects which some of my students had done, and they had developed an AI-based sign language translator.
Wow.
It was part of one of the hackathon ideas. Cisco was hosting along with UPS, and the product which came out in those 48 hours was such a product which Cisco took under their CSR, and they were able to impart education to the deaf children.
Wow.
Under their CSR. So those students who were sitting in that hackathon working on that idea wouldn't have imagined the kind of impact that would make on the society.
Yeah.
So we give high quality curriculum the emerging technology knowledge, we give them life skills, we give them holistic knowledge, and we prepare them for a real world impact.
Oh.
I think if this is what a university can give you, and as Manish has already said, it's your parents who also are going to be happy if you are going to be happy at the end of the day, if you are able to contribute to the society. So this is the place that one should go ahead and take with both the hands.
I think the kind of conducive environment that we build where people can enjoy when they're learning and at the same time create that impact that we saw. So
Yes.
it's again great. Yes.
Yeah. So I want to first make a remark. While, yes, my advice to all of you is to think before you choose the discipline. But you're at an age where you cannot make that decision that easily because you don't know anything. You know, after 30, 40 years, I still don't know what I did in my bachelor's in some sense. So don't worry too much about choosing something because you will, the basic learning will take you far, right? And the fundamental quality that one needs to develop is actually question the status quo. Absolutely don't accept whatever somebody else says. Make your teachers uncomfortable with your questions. And that takes you a long, long way. I mean, in your high school, you probably don't think about these things. Why is -1 times -1 is equal to 1? Is that because your teachers told or something that you actually believe that somehow it is fundamental or something like that? And turn your head and you'll find a question that is very important. And those questions will keep your, learning alive and take you very, very far.
Great. I think wisdom of knowledge and everything we got from talking to all of these four. So great conversation. I think very insightful for anyone and everyone who is looking out for multiple opportunities, who is looking out for a great place to start or who is looking out for a great career. So yeah, it can be a very, very important decision of your life. Thank you so much to each and every one of you. It was great talking to you.